home-based Eagles have moved to the second round of a tournament, and Ayo will be giving us more about that and other stories on Sports News.
Yes, indeed. Many thanks, Melinda. Well, Nigeria's home-based Eagles have been handed a bye to the second round of qualification for the 2020 African Nations Championship, exclusively for footballers playing in their domestic leagues. The home-based Eagles will face the winner from the two-legged fixture between Togo and Benin Republic. 47 teams are engaged in the battle for 15 places to join host Ethiopia for the final tournament of the 6th edition of the championship. The format of the competition remains unchanged and will be played on a zonal basis to determine the finalists for Ethiopia. PSG's Neymar has been ruled out for up to 10 weeks and will miss both legs of Paris Saint-Germain's Champions League round of 16 tie against Manchester United. Now, the Brazil international was injured while playing against Strasbourg last Wednesday in the French Cup, but will not require surgery. It is the second injury in as many years to Neymar's fifth metatarsal in his right foot, and it has occurred at almost exactly the same point in consecutive seasons. Well, last year, Neymar was out for 11 weeks after suffering a metatarsal injury on the same right foot, missing PSG's Champions League last 16 exit to holders Real Madrid. And in the English Premier League, AFC Bournemouth stunned the Blues Chelsea by 4-0 as the Blues continue to fight for a place in the top four. Well, Southampton and, of course, Crystal Palace played out a 1-1 draw in their fixture. And Liverpool's game and with Leicester City at Anfield came out with a 1-1 result, while Tottenham came from a goal down against Watford at Wembley Stadium to win by 2-1. An underwater search for footballer Emiliano Sala's plane will take place after cushions were found on the beach. According to the British Air Accidents Investigation Branch, the AAIB, the cushions were discovered near Sautonville on Cotentin Peninsula by the French authorities. Following this, the AAIB has identified an area of 4 square nautical miles for a search. Well, Spanish authorities have reopened the probe into former Barcelona defender Eric Abidal's 2012 liver transplant after confirming that new evidence suggested a trafficked organ was used. Now, the courts have previously looked into Abidal's transplant because of doubts about the identity of the donor. Well, 7 years ago, Abidal, playing at the time for FC Barcelona and France, had received a transplant as he battled liver cancer. Well, that's a wrap on Sports News. The news at 10 will continue in a moment. Stay with us.
Many thanks, Ayo. 31 people are now known to have died after 2 boats capsized off the coast of Djibouti. The incident happened on Tuesday, about 30 minutes after the overloaded boat set off in heavy seas from Godoria. 16 people have been found alive, but many more are still missing. One survivor says there were 130 people on his boat, but was not able to say how many passengers were on the other vessel. U.S. President Donald Trump says his intelligence agencies are naive when it comes to Iran and North Korea's nuclear weapons. He made the remark after a U.S. intelligence report said Iran was not making nuclear weapons and that North Korea remained unlikely to give up its weapon stockpile and production abilities. In a series of tweets, Mr. Trump says U.S. intelligence officials seem to be extremely passive when it comes to dangers of Iran, and they are wrong. He stressed that Iran was making trouble all over the Middle East and beyond, and in 2016, that was a recurring decimal, but it has been much different since the United States pulled out from the Iran nuclear deal. And about North Korea, the president wrote that time will tell what will happen, but at the end of the previous administration, the relationship was terrible and worse things were still about to happen. Extremely cold temperatures are now expected in many parts of the United States this week in what meteorologists are calling a once-in-a-generation deep freeze. 6 people have already died as a direct result of the cold weather. A state of emergency has been declared in Middle Eastern states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Illinois, as well as normally mild southern states of Alabama and Mississippi. Authorities are warning people not to take deep breaths and avoid talking a lot, especially if they can. The bitterly cold conditions are the result of a spinning pole of cold air known as the polar vortex, and it normally circles the stratosphere over the North Pole, but its current has been disrupted and is now moving south to the United States. And the main news again. Suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onnoghen, today lost the bid to stop his trial for alleged non-declaration of assets by the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Also today, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission charged the former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babaji Lawal, and the former NIA boss, Ayodele Oke, to court over alleged fraud. And rescuers today continued their search for survivors of a Djibouti boat accident where no fewer than 130 migrants were declared missing. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melinda Akinlami.